The Rise of the TMNT movie just released last month on Netflix, following the season 2 finale of the series in 2020. After 2 years of waiting, Rise of the TMNT fans rose from the dead and destroyed Twitter with hype for the movie. Spoilers from this point on, so go watch the movie real quick so your insults on my opinions will be accurate.
No way. No, okay, fine.
The Rise of the TMNT movie starts off in the future. I'm pretty sure that's a staple of the TMNT franchise now, since all the iterations have done it. Anyway, in this future, the Krang have decimated the world, and the few people left fighting are dropping like flies. Like, I'm not kidding, the fall of the Resistance is nothing to be taken lightly. In the first 4 minutes, we see the dead bodies of Big Mama and April, and like 7 background characters get completely demolished by a Krang laser. We also see Donnie and Raph's mask tied to Leo's sword in memorial of them. We start off by following injured Leo and his student, Casey Jones, as they run from Krang-infected monsters. After realizing they've lost, Leo explains that the Krang came through a portal, which Casey must stop from opening by finding the key in order to stop the Krang.
Find the key, stop the Krang.
Mikey sacrifices himself to send Casey back in time, as Leo sacrifices himself to make sure Casey makes it through the portal. While I wish we had more time with the future characters, and I'm still dying to know what killed Raph and Donnie, the first couple minutes of the movie do a great job setting up the theme, sacrifice, and we'll get to that later. Meanwhile, in the present, the turtles are just doing the crazy stuff they always do. This scene sets up the conflict between Leo and Raph, and helps us understand how childish Leo is really acting. I actually admire this scene a lot, even though it feels childish, because it's exactly what happens in the show. Like, they're not just trying to sell you on Rise of the TMNT, with pretty animation and a lot of cool plot we'll get to later. The writers also wanted to showcase their show in this movie. It also provides a break in the drama, and boy are we gonna need that. When Casey finds the turtles via April's cat-like reflexes, he tells them his mission only to find that the key he needs was the artifact Leo accidentally let the Foot Clan get. The team decides to go after the key. This scene is a pivotal point in the movie, both in plot, mood, and character growth. Stick with me on this. They arrive too late and Leo gives away their position, and the portal to the interdimensional prison is opened, allowing the giant blocks of ham to escape.
Time for us to finish remaking this universe in the image of Krang!
After the Turds lose their mystic powers, which they earned in the season 2 finale, yes, that was a plug to go watch the series to Krang number 1 Shockwave. Wait, stop. Why are the Krang able to do this? To be fair, none of the other versions of the Turtles have mystic powers to be stolen. Yes, that's another plug, my turds are better than yours. So maybe it's not a new power, but it feels pretty convenient for the movie. Anyway, Raph calls it and orders a retreat via Donnie Pods. At this point, the team is spread out and retreat seems like the best option. But Casey is persistent that he needs to get the key or the future is doomed. First, he's being loyal to his role model by putting everything on the line to obey, just like he has to do in the future. And second, he's the only one who knows that everyone dies in the future and is desperate to prevent it. Casey is taken away by a Donnie Pod, leaving only Leo and Raph. Leo likes doing things his own way, and he did fight with Raph earlier, but that's not why he wavers in this moment. This is it. This is why Leo is the main character, why the future changes, why his family survives this time around. You can argue that another turtle should have been the main character for this movie, but you would be wrong. Leo jumps out of his Johnny Pod, not out of a responsibility to save the world, or to stop the Krang, or to get back at Raph. Leo jumps out to prove himself and to Casey that he is the great ninja Casey expected him to be. He needs the validation and is willing to risk his life just to know he's good enough. But he's not willing to sacrifice it yet. Raph is. Raph takes the fall for Leo to show him how to be a leader. So, when they all return to the lair, Splinter is fine again and everyone forgets he was hurt. There was a lot happening and I understand why they watered down the least dramatic thing so we could focus on Raph. But then Splinter being mildly injured doesn't constitute an immediate retreat. There are other ways of showing off the Krang's strength without needlessly injuring a character who recovers 2 minutes later. Either that, Or Splinter just got bored and faked passing out so they could all go home. Seems in character for him.
I'm not rest in peace hurt. I'm rest on the couch hurt.
Anyway, back to the dramatics. I love Leo trying to attack Casey and trying to pin the whole situation on him. But instead of reacting the way Leo expects, Casey gives him the validation that he was aiming for. But this scares Leo because he sees it as Casey putting the responsibility on him. And if we know anything about Leo, he can't handle the consequences of responsibility. And Leo blames it on Casey because he's not willing to admit to himself that his actions, his need for Casey's approval, were the reason Raph got captured. Without taking responsibility for his actions, he does want to fix them. 1, to show he can, and 2, to make up for what he's already done. He still wants to prove himself and doesn't let anyone tell him what to do so he can do it himself, which actually becomes a theme for the movie. Leo's desire to prove himself subsequently puts himself first and puts Leo in a position where if he listens to others, he's proving them right. Anyways, on the car ride to Metro Tower, the turtles learn about their future. By a series of events, if Casey hadn't told Mikey that he was a mystic warrior, Leo would have died. It's cute and admirable to see Mikey trying to live up to something he really doesn't understand yet, and it sets up the ending really nicely. It feels a little forced, I'll be honest, but overall, Mikey immediately trying to conjure a magic ability he has no idea about is really adorable and in character. After a short news break to interrupt the tension without switching perspectives to April and Splinter, who are currently trying to destroy the key with Donnie's stomach? Okay, I would have liked to see that, but the news break works just the way it is. It takes some of the pressure off our characters without ruining the tense mood of emergency we need to have with a villain like the Krang. Leo's team arrives in the subway and Donnie and Mikey are skeptical of Leo's plan.
Relax, guys. We'll do what we always do. Ninja in, ninja their faces, ninja out.
While Casey ignores the warnings because he's learned to put total faith in older Leo, and he has some hope in this one. They go deeper into the tunnels only to get attacked by this thing! I love this thing so much, why couldn't we have seen more of it? Anyway, while Leo's team is playing with the subway monster, April and Splints get attacked by Krang 2, where April uses chemicals she stole from her sus college lab. Don't worry, the college isn't important to the plot in any way. To burn a hole through this indestructible alien's eye socket. But no, don't worry. They're smart enough not to use it except for that one time. By the end of the fight, Mikey and Donnie are trapped in the tank, slowly getting squished as April and Splints head over to free them with the yummy chemical. Leo and Casey are trapped in a chamber blocked by debris below the tower. Casey realizes that this is not the Leo he thought he was and tries to get Leo to understand that he's not doing it right. And Leo listens. He knows that he's messed up and that he's continuing to mess up, but he continues to deny it, so when he saves the day, he can say he was right. That is, until he learns his brothers die. Leo is scared of responsibility. He's always played both sides and been able to get away with a lot due to deniability, but he knows that if his brothers die, that's on him. That's something he can't take responsibility for, can't deny, and can't live with. That's why he's able to rise up at this point. Because Casey has stopped seeing the man he will become and sees Leo for who he is now. Flawed. And Leo's painfully aware of it, but because that pressure for him to measure up is something that has been taken from him, he now has a chance to earn it.
I know I'm not the Leo you knew in the future, and maybe I never will be. This whole time I was sure my family needed me, but the truth is, I need them.
He realizes that he is not able to do it by himself, and he accepts the fact that he has flaws, but rises over that to finish the mission. His realization is a little fast, but it works for Leo because he doesn't need complete closure or character growth yet. He just needs to be able to finish the job, and that's all he wants right now, to fix his mistake, though he won't admit it. The team reunites after April saves Donnie and Mikey with that blue stuff. And they find Raph in a squishy, disgusting egg pouch. Except it's too late. Raph is Krang meat now and attacks them. Raph becoming a Krang is very impactful for Leo because he sees the results of his mistakes as a physical thing that is hurting his brother. So Splinter smoke bombs them out of there. Man, if only they had one of those smoke bombs when... Oh well. Now for the rooftop scene. It's a good lead up to the final conflict, and Leo does what Leo does best. He inspires his team. He takes to heart what Casey had told him in the subway, and after reassuring his family that there had to be another way, he hands them the mic and steps back. He lets them come up with the plan, which was actually only slightly better than his first draft.
Ninja in, ninja their faces, ninja out.
But after there is a plan, he takes the lead from there, while not abandoning his selfish desire to fix his mistake alone. He still believes he's the one who has to save Raph, and so takes on that task, giving Donnie and Mikey the task that was the backbone of his whole plan, which is Spaceship Donnie. Leo and Raph's fight is a perfect continuation of their fight earlier in the movie. However, I wish there was a stronger conflict in the beginning so that this fight felt more rounded out. I did love how Leo's whole motive through this fight is to stop fighting. He knows that he's talking to Raph, but he'll only be able to reach him through his emotions. That's where his confession comes from, reaching Raph by admitting he was wrong. That apology at the end is what snapped Raph out of it because it was a confirmation of Leo's growth and understanding. He admits that he's scared and that his family is in danger, and it gave Raph a reason to fight back against the Krang. Likewise, Leo helps the others realize that they can regain their mystic powers by the same means that they first got them. They have to work together as a family.
We are
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Good thing Krang 1 forgot how to steal powers, am I right? Okay, let's check back with April, who threw all of her chemicals at the subway monster that they didn't even stay to fight with, and now is fighting Lady One-Eye with the crane. Okay then, the animation here is killer, but I really hate how April and Splints, and sometimes even our newest character Casey, get thrown to the side sometimes. In the long run, it works out for the plot so we can focus on Leo and Leo's growth throughout the movie. Speaking of, look at this epic team up! In the end, it's just Leo, because it's always been just Leo. He needs his family, and everything he's done is to gain approval from them. He has no reason to stay on the Technodrome. None. He saved Raph. He did what he went up there to do. His brothers are down below. He could portal away, and then they could come up with a new plan together. They could fight the Krang together. But Leo needs to do this alone. It's time for him to stop making it about himself. Time to follow through with something for once. Time for him to lead the way. He is sacrificing himself for himself to prove to himself that he is the hero that he sees and aspires to be in Raph. He is sacrificing himself for his family because he can't live without them. He is sacrificing himself for Casey, becoming what Casey saw in him and what he so desperately wanted to see in himself. Casey struggles to close the portal out of selfishness, love, and fresh pain. He knows his Leo knows what he's doing, and that this Leo is, in this moment, his Leo. He knows he has to trust his sensei, even if Leo doesn't realize that's who he is to Casey right now. He doesn't want to lose him again. He doesn't want that hurt to return, but in the end, he trusts Leo and closes the portal. When the portal closes, we see everyone's reaction to Leo's sacrifice, and this is nothing short of beautiful. It's not just a quick montage of everyone being sad for Leo, it lives and breathes character, which is something Rise has always been the best at. When Donnie sees Leo go through the portal, he touches his cheek, somehow confused as to why there are tears tracing down his face. His mind is still playing catch-up, and he hasn't accepted that Leo's gone yet. He doesn't understand why he's having a physical reaction because his brother can't be gone. He immediately searches for proof, for facts, for evidence, like how he solves most problems. Raph doesn't cry, though he's knelt over, obviously in grief. Raph understands the choice Leo had to make better than anyone, and it's his fault that Leo was the one who had to make it. Raph is a support for his family, and if he breaks down, it would be a confirmation that he's gone and that Raph doesn't know how to get him back. We don't see Splinter up close, and that's on purpose. He is immediately distant because he can't get out of his own head that it's his fault, and there is nothing he can do to prevent it, fix it. He can't even come to terms with it. April's angry. She finds someone to place her emotions on because she can't contain them on her own. It's either bottle them up so she doesn't have to face the reality of the situation or find someone to take the blame. She blames the Krang for everything they did to her world, her family, and her brother. Leo is lost, alone, and dying. He is coming to terms with the choice he had to make, struggling to take the victorious beating, but knowing that he had saved his family and became everything he had wanted to be. He is in pain and has every reason to get upset, maybe even regret his choice, but he doesn't cry in grief. That little smile he gives the Krang is a testament to his character, his very existence. He has come to terms with his decision and is ready to die. He has accepted the responsibility of his sacrifice and is willing to take on the consequences. Mikey cries the most out of everyone in the movie, which makes sense for an emotional character. He cries loudly, desperately, and immediately tries to find a solution. Like a child, he denies any logical facts. He denies grief and loss and instead searches for hope in what Leo told him, what Casey told him, what he knew for himself. Because he can't accept it. He won't. He has to find something that'll fix this because he can't live in this reality where his family is broken and lost. He searches for hope, and just like always, he finds it. While Mikey's new power may have felt forced, I can't say that he shouldn't have found it any other way. The portal that the three brothers have to open together to save Leo is the best way they could have rescued him. It wraps up in a way that feels foreshadowed, like we should have seen it coming, in a perfect parallel of the beginning of the movie. And it continues with this theme at the end when Raph breaks the record to show that Leo wasn't wrong in what he was doing, only in the attitude he had when doing them. Yet it doesn't feel like a perfect ending. It feels like there's so much more to build off of from this point. And now for my final plug. The movie was epic in every way it was supposed to be. The animation, the lighting, the soundtrack, the animation, the characters, the comedy, the animation. The plot was a little rough in some places, and it felt rushed or forced in some scenes. But the main theme of the movie was resolved. Leo's growth throughout the movie was great, and yet it still gives him plenty of room to grow. They stuck closely to the show and were not afraid to add in some individual things that make their show unique. There were Easter eggs for longtime fans to find, but if you're new to the show or franchise in general, it didn't feel like you were playing catch-up. I really recommend watching it, even if you're a little apprehensive about something in the show. It's TMNT and it's nothing like what you've seen before, and it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be that awkward baby brother of the group who's different from all the others that came before it. The movie is a great way to get into the series, and I highly recommend both. Plus, you'll get to join our cult of turtle-obsessed nerds who are fighting to save our precious so all over the internet. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing for more videos. I may not be bilingual, but I am multi-fandom. If you want to like this video and allow it to rot away in your liked videos list on YouTube, by all means, go for it. Also, I have Twitter, so you can follow me there for updates on videos, but mostly it's just me ranting about movies and shows. Let me know what other movies you would like to see reviewed by a movie-obsessed amateur in the comments below, and feel free to leave any critiques you might have as well. Not saying I'll do as the Legion's command, because I've got an awful case of self-righteousness, but I would love to see what you guys think. I've been rambling too long, so enjoy the rest of your day.